everybody, and I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode of the Crash Bang Boom podcast. Today's guest would be none other than Danny Schuler of Biohazard. Biohazard reformed after a substantial break for 2025's Divided We Fall, and we get into everything from the writing and recording of it, what led to the band getting back together, vintage gear both on the recording and some of his own Gretsch kit, the irony of power toms, Biohazard's upcoming tour with Sepultura, Exodus, and Tribal Gaze, as well as Sepultura's hardcore influences, Sick of It All being the torchbearers for hardcore in the early 90s, and why Igor Cavalera and Dave Lombardo rule. Crash Bang Boom podcast can be found on all podcast platforms, and if you like what you hear, please feel free to drop a positive review my way and check out any of the previous 300 plus episodes. Additional video clips of the interviews can be found on the Crash Bang Boom YouTube page, so check it out, and thanks as always for the support. All right, here we go, y'all. Danny Schuler of Biohazard. Been a long time coming for this one, and check back in for part 2 early next week. Also catch Biohazard on tour with Sepultura, Exodus, and Tribal Gaze starting April 29th, 2026 in Montclair, New Jersey through May 29th in Los Angeles, California. Hope y'all dig the combo as much as I did having it. Crash Bang Boom.
Crowds go mad with joy.
All right, Danny Schuler of the one and only Biohazard. Danny, what's happening, man? It's good to catch up with you. You're a guy that I've been wanting to talk to a long time. I was listening to your band in the early 90s and beyond, and I always love to bust some chops with some New Yorkers, having lived in New York for 15 years myself, so I do enjoy that, I must say.
Where do you live now? Where are you?
I'm in Atlanta now, but we come COVID in 2020, we were in Salt Lake City, Utah for a year and a half. That was bizarre. And then now Atlanta. But yeah, it was 15 years of New York, predominantly started off in kind of Lower East Side, East Village. Before it was just, there was no semblance of any of that left. I was right on the tail end where I was like, wait, there's one rock and roll bar left. And then that was gone. I was like, all right, fuck, I got to go to Brooklyn now.
Yeah.
And then I was in Brooklyn for years. Brooklyn, Ridgewood, Williamsburg, Park Slope, all that shit. So
Yeah, I'm familiar.
I'm glad I did it when I was able to do it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, man.
New York's great. I mean, it was great. I haven't lived there for a long time now, but I feel lucky to have grown up there when I did.
Yeah.
I had like, growing up in the 70s, 80s,
yeah,
into the 90s, living in Brooklyn and, being a train ride away from the Lower East Side was such a amazing thing, and the timing of it and everything was incredible for me and my friends. So
had to have been.
We went buck wild.
Where are you now? Speaking of which,
New Jersey.
Oh, you're in Jersey, right on. You still Northeast Coast, bro?
Yeah, I'm still around. I'm a half hour from Manhattan right now, but yeah,
absolutely.
I'm not far. I haven't gone far.
And it looks like from what I'm seeing here, for those of you that are listening to this, that you have space, as do I. So for those of you, sort of just trudging your way through the New York world, every now and again when you leave, you can get a little bit of space and perhaps have drum sets and everything behind you.
Yeah, this is my garage.
Yeah. I know what's funny. I was like, is that a projector? And then I saw the line. I was like, no, that's his garage. That is your garage.
My soundproof studio garage. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Well, congrats on 2025's Divided We Fall. I feel like y'all channeled a good bit of your hardcore sort of early influences. And how do you feel about that record now that it's out in the world, man?
I'm really proud of that record. I love that record.
Yeah.
I thought we did a great job, with the songs. And I mean, we got really lucky to work with a guy like Matt Hyde, who produced the album and engineered the album and mixed the album. I think he did a great job of really, helping us pull our sound together and helping us develop the songs into what it became.
Mm-hmm.
He was definitely an important part of everything. But, I'm really proud that we pulled it together and did the record,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were surprised by it because
yes,
I think a lot of people counted us out in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago. Oh, they did their best work. 25 years ago. I saw them back in the day. Blah, blah, blah. But I think we surprised a lot of people by putting out a super strong, super hard record right now.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm proud of the record. I love it. It's a good record.
Absolutely, man. With 2012's Reborn and Defiance, what was that like 13-year gap there like for you? What did you have going on? What did the band have going on? What's up with that 13-year sort of break there?
Between Reborn and Defiance and Divided We Fall?
Yeah.
Well, me, the band, Evan left the band after that, before that record even came out.
Ah.
So we ended up getting a friend of mine named Scott Roberts came in and he played bass and sang, and we toured the world for about 5 years.
Oh, crazy.
And towards the tail end of that, it was getting really good. And we were going to make a record, and the band just completely imploded. And around 2015, 2016, and that was it. Biohazard was a wrap, so to speak. And I was just going to do something else. A couple of years went by. We were all living life. I wasn't really speaking much. I hadn't really heard much, I should say, from any of the other guys that were in the band over that time. But I didn't have any. There was no like issue with me not talking to them, with the exception of Evan. Evan and the rest of us were separated by some legal stuff, and we hadn't heard from him in years. But like around COVID time, COVID happened, and it was like that summer, 2020.
Yep.
And my wife and the kids were going down to our family's beach house down here in the Jersey Shore for a couple of days, just to like go hang out in the sun and get the hell away from all the COVID insanity that was all over New York and New Jersey.
God, it was insane.
Yeah, it was insane. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that because that's a whole other thing.
Oh, dude, my youngest son was born May 7th of 2020 during COVID times at Mount Sinai West. Or East, I forget which one. So yeah, I was in the hospital system during COVID with a son being born. It fucking sucked.
That's insane. I can't even imagine.
It sucked. I showed up with one bottle of wine, and they were like, you're not going to be able to leave the room. I was like, oh shit, I would have bought like 6 bottles of wine if I knew I was going to be locked in this goddamn room.
Right? That's crazy. Man.
It was nuts. Anyways.
Is the baby okay?
Yeah, he was fine. It was good, but it was crazy because we transferred rooms, and when they did it, they put him in an incubator, and he was fine. He was born, traditionally, so to speak. But to see your baby in one of those two, like one of the, I was like, is there something? But they were just so worried about transferring a child from literally one room to the other. They had him in like this incubator, and I was
like a chicken.
Yeah.
Like a chicken.
Right. It was crazy, dude. Yeah, I did not. I did not enjoy going through that at all. It sucked.
Wow.
Yeah. But anyways,
crazy.
Going back to y'all, I guess the band sort of rekindling it around COVID.
Well, COVID. It was a couple of months into COVID, and the world was crazy still, and we were all like, "Oh my god!" And what the hell's going on? And what is this shit? And my wife and I were just living our lives and just doing our thing with the kids. And we said, let's go to the beach for a couple of days, take a couple of days off. So we were on our way to the beach, and my brother called me. My brother lives in California, and he goes, "Hey, man, we were getting on a flight coming home to New York last night, and you won't believe who I saw at the airport." I said, "No, who?" And he goes, "I saw Evan. He was on our flight." I said, "Get the hell out of here, really?" Yeah. And he was like, "Yeah, man, we talked." Because, my brothers and I, we all grew up in the same neighborhood with Evan. So we all knew Evan from when we were kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So my family knows him and everything. I hadn't heard from Evan at that point in like 9 years.
Wow.
So my brother was like, "Yeah, we spoke at the airport. It was good to see him. He was going back to New York for something. And, they were flying into New York. We were going to see them in a couple of days." And he was like, "Yeah, he told me to tell you he said hello, So I was like, "Oh, cool. All right." So this is like COVID time, right? And, the world was getting nuts. People were getting crazy. And, some people we knew died who were very close to the band. Our manager from back in the day, Scott Koenig, who was a very close friend and brother to all of us, ended up getting sick, going into the hospital and dying in LA during that time. And another friend of ours who's very close to the band, who we toured with for years in the 90s, Sean Kilkenny from Dog Eat Dog passed away the same or the next day. And it
Oh,
was just like 2 days of like boom, boom, just like tragic, losses for us. And so I had been speaking to Billy and Bobby, we had talked about that, and we were all really upset about that. And it just kind of gave me a perspective, like, all this shit is going on in the world. We could die. Like people fucking die. We expire.
yeah.
It's like at some point you just gotta be like, how long can you hold a fucking grudge?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, does it really fucking matter when we all die? Like you're gonna be mad about some bullshit to people that you went through so many great experiences in life with and grew up with and everything else.
Hmm.
So I was kind of like in that vibe.
Sure.
That was like my takeaway from the whole COVID thing.
Mm.
Because that whole COVID thing to me, I mean, I know people got it, people got sick, people died, but whatever. That's a political discussion.
Mm.
But what I took away from that, like I said, was like it really prioritized my thoughts, kind of, and I realized that, life's too short to fucking be a jerk off. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So, I'm talking to my wife. We're in the car driving down to the Jersey Shore. And I tell her, my brother ran into Evan last night at the airport. She said, no way, that's great. And I told her about everything. And she was like, why don't you stop being a fucking jerk and just call him and you guys could just fucking talk and just, put this shit to fucking bed. Like, who gives a fuck? At this point, like, who gives a fuck about any bullshit that happened? You guys know each other since you're 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah.
Stop being fucking idiots and just talk.
Right.
So I'm driving, right? So I'm like, I do one of those Siri things and I send a text to Evan. I still had his phone number. So I texted him and I was like, hey, you want to talk? And he answered me back right away. Yeah. And within 5 minutes, we were on the phone and we hadn't spoken for almost 10 years. And the first 15 seconds were a little like, how are you? What's up with you? No, what's up with you? But then right after that, it was just like the same old two fucking schmucks who grew up together, just bullshitting, laughing, catching up. We had a really good conversation and it was relaxed and it was really no baggage.
Hmm.
So that was good. Like I felt really good about that. Went on vacation. When I came home, somebody called me, one of the guys, Billy or Bobby, contacted me about something. And I told them, I said, hey, you won't believe this, but I spoke to Evan. And they were like, no way, really? That's crazy. And then Billy ran into him in LA at a memorial for Scott Koenig. And yeah, that was kind of like how that's kind of like the tail end of those years, how it kind of like led to eventually the band getting in a room together and talking about playing again.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean that's all. But all those years, I was doing the band. I was home. Like my mom had gotten very ill, so I was glad ultimately that I wasn't on the road during the last bunch of years because my mom got real sick and I was taking care of her and she passed away.
Mm.
So I was glad that I wasn't obligated to go on the road during that time. So I was happy to be home for a couple of years, but now, I mean, the band's back together. We got back together in 2023. We just made the record and we're going back on tour in a minute. And, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for all the stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Grateful to be able to play and have fun. I'm grateful for the music and the people who still pay attention to us. I feel really lucky for that. So here we are.
When it came time to record the record, which was ultimately released in 2025, where did y'all record it, and what's some of the gear that you used? I thought your drums, in particular, your snare, some of these more recent hardcore records have some really great drum production, kind of great guitars, everything. I've just been noticing that more and more, and I think that record certainly has it. What was your experience recording drums for it?
We ended up tracking most of the record here in New Jersey. My friend Joe DeMeo has a great studio in Long Branch called Surefire Studios. Joe's really into collecting like vintage gear. He's got a control room that looks like it's from like 1976.
Awesome.
All the great old analog gear. He has everything in pairs.
Wow.
And it all still works. So And that's a great thing to have in the studio, along with all the new stuff and Pro Tools and everything else. We're all engineer. I mean, I've been a music engineer for a very long time, aside from playing in the band. Billy also ran his own studio. He and I had a studio in Brooklyn for many years in downtown Brooklyn. So, we're into the whole studio process. Joe's studio, though, Surefire, has the thing that I love about it is that it has a giant live room, like the old studios used to have, a big, I mean, huge.
Nice.
Like you could do a show in his live room. There's actually a stage and everything. It's huge.
Awesome.
High ceilings, really big. The reason why I like that for Biohazard is that I think we do our best when the four of us are playing live together.
Uh-huh.
And the whole premise of this record was let's do it live in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Let's find a place big enough where we could set up everybody and all of us just play live in the room with all the noise, all the leakage, everything, and just get the vibe of when we do our best shit. Because that's when we do our best shit.
Right.
Live.
Mm-hmm.
So we tracked like 90% of the record at Surefire. We went in over a couple of days and did half the record, and then took a break for 2 weeks, and then went back in after Christmas and last year and finished the record, and finished all the drum tracks, all the basic tracks and everything, all Bobby's leads and stuff. It was a quick, inspired, spontaneous process.
Good.
Where there were moments where we were making shit up on the fly. You know what I mean? It was just like everybody really was in the vibe and really into playing together. And that was the whole vibe of the record. And I like that better than kind of like breaking things down and, sticking to the grid and just kind of like, getting these performances and doing all the digital editing and just kind of like, we wanted to do it like how we sound live, how we play live. That's how we wanted to do the record.
Uh-huh.
There's actually on the drum tracks, I don't know if you're like an engineer nerd or not.
I am.
No digital editing on the drums whatsoever on the whole record.
Good for you.
Most of it was one take. There's no samples on the record.
Good job.
Or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not that it was a good job. It was just like everything sounded good. So let's just go with it like that. You know what I mean? We had great gear, good musicians, and great engineers, and Matt Hyde and Joe DeMeo from the studio. And it was great. So we didn't really have to do any of that other bullshit.
Right.
So we got it done really, really quick. We did some guitar and bass overdubs in LA a little bit. And the guys finished the vocals in LA with Matt at Matt's little studio.
Okay.
And Matt mixed it. And that was it. That was the whole process.
Wow.
And it was like quick, quick. Like I only tracked drums for probably 3 days the whole time, just wrapping up all the songs. It was mostly one take the whole time. Mm-hmm. So it was great. For me, it was just like a great energy going the whole way through. And Matt really, when it came to those guys doing their vocals, he really did a great job producing and helping them to kind of like pull the back. Well, not just with the singers, but with all of us. Mm-hmm. Really did a great job of pulling out great performances out of everybody. Bobby's leads and solos and guitar work on the record, I think is stellar.
Yeah,
fantastic.
for sure.
I was there with them the whole time, right next to each other in the studio, doing it together, and it was great. Just a great thing, man. I never thought that we would get back together, much less be able to do a record that way, like really collaborating and doing it together with that kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
It was really special.
Yeah, man.
I had a great time making the record. I'm very proud of the record. I think it's a great record for us.
Nice, man. What snare did you use? Did you use a single snare for all the tracks?
Yeah. Let me just disclaimer. I endorse Gretsch drums.
Okay.
And that's very recent development.
Okay.
There's my Gretsch kit right there.
I love Gretsch.
My 26-inch kick, my
hell yeah,
13, 16, 18. Gretsch Brooklyn. Got that kit just recently.
Nice.
When we made the record, though, I didn't have my Gretsch kit. I have a collection of drums at home. A lot of different kinds of drums, Thermogloss kit and some other vintage stuff and everything.
Yeah.
What I used on the record is I have a DW kit that I bought in 1989.
Oh, wow. That's when Camco was becoming DW.
Right.
That's
yeah.
Oh, great.
I have the original like DW badges on it that I just had a DW collector tell me that's not a real badge. That's not a real DW
That's
drum.
the
I've never
original
seen that
badge is what
badge.
it is.
Yeah, yeah. It is the original badge, but
Yeah.
they're old and they're phenomenal. I
Yeah.
literally ordered them in 1989, bought them in 1989. It's the first time I ever bought a real new drum kit.
Wow.
I still have those drums, and I love those drums. They're 3-ply maple, poplar maple reinforcement rings in the shells.
Yeah.
My kick drum is a 24-inch kick drum, super light, but they just sound amazing. They're easy to tune, and they sound great. So that was my best kit when we went in to make the record last year. I didn't have the Gretsch kit yet.
Right.
So I used my DWs, and I used a Ludwig 35th anniversary Superphonic that I've had for years. I have a collection of Superphonics,
Yeah.
LM402s, but this one is like just has a unique sound. It's a little different than a regular LM402. It's got the die-cast hoops on it and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Tube lugs instead of the traditional Ludwig lugs.
Right.
And it just sounds different than my other. I have a 1976 LM402 that's almost brand new.
So do I. I have two, but I've got the 5x14s, both from 76. I was born in 76, so I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna get two drums that were, came out the same year that I was born. You pulling that bad boy out there?
Yeah, I mean, I keep it in my studio, but I never play it anymore. But this is a 1976 LM402.
Right. Oh wow, here. Look at that thing. That thing looks brand new. Holy shit.
It's like amazing. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
And it sounds great, but this is not what I played on the album.
Gotcha.
This is what I played on the record.
Right on.
But I was pursuing Gretsch though, because I didn't have a drum endorsement for many, many years. I just always wanted to play what I wanted to play. And all those like great companies that make all those great drums would never give me any. Right. I even contacted Ludwig at one point, and I was like, I'll buy it, and they were like, yeah, we'll give you a discount, but and I was just like, okay, whatever.
Damn. All right.
But a couple of months ago, I reached out to Gretsch, somebody over there, and they got back to me right away. And they were like, yeah, we're interested in maybe working with you, because I really love Gretsch drums.
Oh, they're killer.
Like the new Gretsch stuff, the stuff they're making now, I think it's the highest quality drums.
Badass. Yeah.
Yeah. So I ordered a Brooklyn kit, and that's what I'm playing now. And I am honestly completely floored by the way my drums sound. I ordered, what I really love, the sizes I really love. I have a Brooklyn kit. That's it. That's it. The gold sparkle Brooklyn kit, 13x9, a 16x16, an 18x16, and a 26x16.
Wow.
And I was going to go with the 26x14, but I went with the 16 instead.
I hear you.
And I'm glad I did, because it's different sounding than any of my other 26-inch kick drums.
Yeah.
It's definitely deeper and thumpier.
Right.
But I mean, I record these drums in my house right now. And, I got some good mic pre's and stuff, but they sound phenomenal. And the snare drum that I just got from Gretsch, I have a USA custom 6.5x14 chrome over brass.
Those are nice. Yeah. I've got, most of my drums are chrome over brass or black nickel over brass or whatever. Yeah. They're brass drums. And interestingly enough, in fact, all of my bass drums are all 14-inch depths, whether they're 24, 20, 22, anything in between. So we sound like we could collect a lot of the same shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have other kits with those sizes, 26x14.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I love the traditional sized drums.
Yeah.
I was never impressed with power toms or
right.
Anything like that. Like it just doesn't it doesn't do to me. Like I remember when I was a kid, a friend of mine got like a Tama drum kit with like these big deep toms.
Uh-huh.
And I remember going over his house and I was like, bro, these drums look crazy. He was like, bro, these are power toms,
bro.
Power toms. And I was like, really? What do they do?
They sound fucking powerful, bro.
They're power toms, bro. And, it was just like, and I was just like, They don't sound really that
Powerful.
different. Yeah. And then
That's false advertising.
yeah, and then in the late '80s, I had a Ludwig rocker kit
Yeah.
that I had two 26-inch kick drums and like a 13 and a 14-inch power tom.
Oh my God. Were those things
And
mounted up onto the ceiling? You had to like
yeah,
reach up
they
here
were
to
like
fucking hit them?
boom, up here.
Right.
They looked amazing.
Right.
They looked amazing. There are videos on YouTube of me playing those drums.
Amazing.
I actually got those drums from the drummer of White Lion.
Of course you did. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course you did.
Brooklyn. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, that's how that happened.
Damn.
But I couldn't get a sound out of those power toms.
Right.
Like, I pride myself on being a really good like drum tuner.
I'm pretty good if I must say so as well.
Yeah, man. You gotta you're a drummer, right? You listen and you got ears. You could tune drums. You got to make them sound how you want them to sound. And I could never get a sound out of the power toms.
The distance, it's too much. You're like, where is this thing even resonating? You're accustomed to shorter depths and you get a faster resonance off that bottom head or the opposite head. I think that
the air pressure.
Yeah.
Does that thing when it's shorter, you know?
Yeah, it's quicker response.
Response, more power in the shorter shell.
Ironically, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not a power tom guy, but
I'm not either, man.
Yeah, I guess these are all traditional sizes, with the exception of the kick drum I got is a 16 by 26.
Right.
And it's the first time I've had one that size. But they really do sound different than any other kit I've ever had.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I think it has to do with the rounded bearing edge.
That's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. Like, I didn't realize that translates to the skin like having more surface on the wood.
True.
And like sharing more surface with the wood because it's a rounded edge.
Correct.
So there's a little more surface on the head has more. So I don't know. They're definitely deep.
Yeah.
They're easy to tune.
Yeah.
I'm more of a traditional kind of jazz tuning drum guy.
Mm-hmm. So a little higher.
Wide open, no tape, no muffle, no fucking moon gel or anything.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
raw dogging these drums. What the fuck?
They're raw dogs. Yes. And they sound amazing. Like, it sounds like a Gretsch commercial now. But
damn,
really, I'm really proud and happy to have these drums. And I'm really like, everybody I tell them, like, bro, at the very least, get the fucking snare. It's ridiculous. I'm a snare guy, obviously.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I showed you one of my collection, but I have an extensive collection of classic snares. And this is like my best snare is the fucking brand new Gretsch.
Really?
It impressed the shit out of me out of the box. I didn't even change the head on it.
Really?
I still got the Gretsch head with the fucking dot on it, and I hate heads with dots on them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it fucking sounds great. When I put an Emperor on that thing, coated Emperor, forget about it. It's going to be fucking like, amazing. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, I play, on the DW kit when we did the record, I have coated Emperors on everything.
Mm-hmm.
With coated Ambassadors on the bottom of everything. But I had like a power stroke on the kick drum because, Biohazard needs. I always wanted to have the big open kick drum in the band, and I can't do it. It's just, it doesn't translate into like for this kind of heavy music. I need that tight, thumpy, clicky. Yeah, that just doesn't happen with the wide open marching sound bass drum.
I know. So, it's one thing if you're playing like fewer notes, but the second those notes get faster, God forbid you're playing double bass on a single bass drum with that more open tuning. I've tried it plenty of times and I've struggled to where I'm not getting this sort of weird sort of bounce back to where it's almost a little disorienting. So you do have to unfortunately deaden it a little bit just so you can get the articulation without the sort of weird bounce back off of shit,
Yeah, exactly. 100%. So, the bass drum, I just always have like a pillow in there and maybe a felt. Mm-hmm. And that's the only muffling I do on the drums. But yeah, I like them wide open. I carefully tune my kit to really get it to sound the way I want it to sound. I like it to really have like a kind of tympanic, loud thunderous kind of tom sound.
Mm-hmm.
I like them to sound big. That's what I like.
Yeah. Power toms without the power toms.
Yeah, exactly. I like power toms, but not power toms.
Oh man! When it came time to for y'all to like go out and play shows with the new record, did you have to sort of work yourself up to it, or did you just sort of throw the dice and say, "I'm going to just adjust as we play the sets"? Or do you feel like in rehearsing you were able to sort of prep yourself to be able to physically deal with it? Because the shit doesn't get. I'll be 50 this year, and I've been noticing in my late 40s now that I'm approaching 50 for fuck's sake that what I thought I could do without necessarily prepping myself for it is not necessarily what I can do now.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. And I'm 56.
Right
so
on.
for me, before the tour over the summer, I, just like up the running, up the physical activity and practice. I have to I didn't just wing it and go on the road. I spent a good 5-6 weeks playing almost daily, and really doing other training, like exercise training, to go on the road and get myself prepared for, we were doing headline shows over the summer, and it was like an hour and a half set.
Oof.
And Biohazard's music is very intense.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't really get a break. So I got to get my breath under control, my respiration.
That's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. And I got to get ready. So I spent like 6 weeks really concentrating on my conditioning before that tour. And since I've been home from that tour, I've been doing that a lot. I'm down like 35 pounds from when I started.
Wow.
Back in December. So I'm gearing up for this, because we're about to start a big chunk of touring here in the U.S. with Sepultura, and then over the summer, I'm going to be really busy. So I'm always preparing myself to play drums. I have to at my age. Not that I'm old, but when you've been playing drums since you're 5 years old, and it's 50 years later, and you want to keep going, you definitely have to condition yourself. It's an athletic endeavor playing the drums in a rock band or a heavy band or whatever you want to call it.
100%.
As you know, I'm sure, as a drummer, it is an athletic endeavor. You got to be in shape. So yeah, I do. I condition myself. I train. I practice every day. Sometimes I don't play Biohazard stuff. I just kind of play the drums, play along to records I love. Play along to Physical Graffiti, play along to Exit Stage Left.
There you go.
Just play like stupid shit that I played when I was a kid. That's really great drumming, and just try to get my chops up and challenge myself doing other things. And then I end up playing the Biohazard set and doing all that stuff. So I prepare myself.
Hell yeah. So I think it's interesting that y'all are going out on the road with Sepultura soon, Exodus as well. And Sepultura is an interesting one because in 91 they put out a Rise, and that is its own level of brutality. There was all sorts of shit. I can talk, we could do an entire podcast about 1991 and my obsession about the myriad fucking incredible records that came out in that year alone, not the least of which was like all the grunge shit and everything else that happened. But Sepultura does that in 91, and then once you kind of get to Roots, I'm hearing sort of almost a hardcore influence in what they were doing, a little bit maybe away from a little less thrash, maybe a little more hardcore or something. Did you get to see them in those years, to see that sort of change? And did you feel like they were maybe listening to some of the hardcore music coming out of New York, or I've never quite known what attributed to it, but I could see a shift.
I did see Sepultura back then. I actually met Max and Igor probably in 1989. I think the summer of 1989, I saw them in New York.
Wow.
And I met them at a show. And I remember Igor telling me that they were like really into a lot of like the New York hardcore bands and stuff.
That is what makes sense to me.
Yeah, Sepultura definitely had a big like hardcore and punk influence.
Yeah.
On their music. I talked to them about that many times. I've known those guys a very long time.
Interesting.
Love that band.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. You got to see him back in the day. I had tickets when I'm originally from like New Orleans area in Louisiana, and they did a tour, Sepultura that is, called New Titans on the Block, and I believe it was Napalm Death, Sacred Reich, and Sick of It All, and Sepultura. And I remember my mother saying, she was looking at all the band names, and she was like, I'm going to get 4 tickets for this. Are you sure y'all are going to be okay? And we were like, yeah. But meanwhile, we were scared to death because I was like, those are really, at the time, incredibly intense bands. And turns out, I'm not so totally certain, but from what I've read, by the time it got to New Orleans, it had been canceled. Tour was over. I never got a reason. We just didn't go see it. We got a refund. My understanding was that some of those shows were so violent that some of the club owners said, fuck it, we're not even going to do it. Have you heard anything about that?
Biohazard actually jumped on 1 or 2 of those shows and played.
No way.
Yeah. And I saw those shows, and yeah, it was violent, it was crazy, and it was amazing. It was. I mean, it was Sepultura, Napalm Death,
Sick of It All, Sacred Reich.
Yeah. I remember going to see that at the Ritz. First of all, Sick of It All. Let's talk about Sick of It All for just a second.
Hell yeah.
Probably, I mean, it's debatable, and people will probably disagree with me, but they perfected New York hardcore.
Yeah.
Sick of It All. Like, the bands before them were unbelievable, right? But they came along and refined, in my opinion, refined hardcore to a fucking science.
Yeah.
Sick of It All is an amazing band. It's funny because just yesterday I texted Lou, their singer, who's been sick.
Yeah.
But I texted Lou yesterday, and I was like, bro, I have been thinking all week about the tour that we did in 1992, because we did a U.S. tour with Sick of It All in 1992. And it was a crazy, crazy tour. It was like Sheer Terror, Biohazard, and Sick of It All,
Oh, God.
Yeah. But it was amazing. For me, it was just like so great to see Sheer Terror and Sick of It All just every night demolish and be like the perfect hardcore machine. You know what I mean? Like, they were just fucking deadly. But anyway, Sick of It All. I love Sick of It All.
Yeah.
Sepultura at those new Titans on the Block shows. That was an insane time to see Sepultura. They were going through a lot of changes. They were getting to that roots period, and they were just getting heavier and heavier.
Yeah.
They were like out slayering Slayer, out metallic-ing Metallica.
Yeah.
To us, we thought they were just a thrash band.
But not once you get towards Chaos AD into Roots, you start hearing more sort of slower groove-based stuff.
They were way more than just a thrash
band. Yeah.
Yeah, Sepultura, great, amazing, and still amazing now. Right. I saw them not long ago.
Me too.
The newer lineup.
Yeah.
Derek's been with them for a very long time, and they're still fucking amazing.
Yeah, kicking ass.
They're still fucking great. And I just saw Igor and Max Cavalera over the summer, and they were fucking on fire.
Nice.
I mean, it's, for me as a drummer, Igor's my friend, but I love to watch him play. And over the summer I watched him play. And it's like nothing changed. It's like fucking 25 years ago still. Amazing.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to go see the Cavalera brothers doing some of what they're doing now. I haven't seen that. But
do it.
Yeah.
Don't miss it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, the Sick of It All thing from my perspective as a someone who grew up in Louisiana. I heard about Sick of It All via the Headbangers Ball. So I guess when Injustice System came out as a video, I was like, what is this? That was my introduction. I was like, why are there like all these people on the stage and what there's all these chants. I hadn't heard really hardcore at all until that point. I remember getting the cassette tape, and we felt so rebellious. Me and my buddies, we would ride by, and if we saw a cop, we would like throw on Injustice System or something like that and like turn it up and roll the windows down and be like, yeah, we're fucking badass. Listen to this hard. We thought we were such badass. So funny, but it's absolutely tied to a specific point in my life where in the late 80s, early 90s, I certainly hadn't heard anything like that. So that was totally what led me into all of it was Sick of It All.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, they were like a band that kept hardcore alive at a dark time.
Yeah.
You know, it was like the Bad Brains had kind of gone away at that time. And all of a sudden it was just like, yo, check out these guys from Queens. And I was just like, holy shit, these guys are fucking sick. You know, and it kind of like, you know, like after the end of when the Bad Brains ended, I was just like, wow, that's it.
Yeah.
This whole movement is over. You know, because the Bad Brains are just the ultimate. They were like, to me, like the Led Zeppelin of punk and hardcore.
Totally.
You know, they were the greatest band I've ever seen.
Uh-huh.
And when they went away and like took that break for a couple of years, it was just like, you know, I guess that whole movement is just dead.
Uh-huh.
You know, all the punk bands kind of changed at that time and a lot of things changed. And then Sick of It All came roaring out. It was just like, they were fucking amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. If it wasn't for bands like Sick of It All, I don't know if hardcore would have extended past 1989.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Bands like them breathe more life into it and were innovative enough to like be like, hey, this isn't done yet. We can still build this thing. And they kept it alive. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah. It's so crazy. I mentioned not seeing them when they came through New Orleans again on that tour, but I would see them years later. Interestingly enough, opening up for it was Meshuggah on the Chaosphere tour. Then it was Sick of It All, so it was probably just after Scratch the Surface, somewhere around that time.
Wow,
but then Slayer, I never saw Slayer with Dave Lombardo, who I love. So Paul was on the gig, but it was crazy to see. First of all, Meshuggah.
Wait, so you saw them with when Sick of It All was on the Slayer tour?
Yeah, and Meshuggah opened.
Yeah.
I think for Chaosphere era Meshuggah. And I remember being outside the venue and I saw like all the Meshuggah guys get out and I was like, look at these big long-haired Viking fucks. Who are these dudes? And then, you know, I had been a fan of them. And so I got to see them and then Sick of It All kicked ass and I got to see Slayer. I've only seen Sick of It All and Slayer one time and it was in the same night. And that was many years ago in New Orleans. I have not seen either of those bands since then. Yeah.
Slayer is still mind-blowing and amazing.
Yeah.
It's different without Dave Lombardo, but Paul Bostaph is a gentleman and a great drummer.
Fuck yeah, he is.
But seeing Slayer with Dave Lombardo that's a fucking experience. I mean, Dave Lombardo's a one-of-a-kind drummer.
Absolutely.
One-of-a-kind drummer.
Yeah.
He does something really well that nobody even comes close to doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got a weird gift.
Yeah, he can play like loosey goosey halftime stuff, seemingly with like really somehow accurate 16th note right hand stuff, and then blast double bass stuff. Yeah. And it's like he's got an interesting feel, which in the modern quantized world is not something that you hear or feel so much anymore. But man, those Slayer records, especially, I feel like once you get to Seasons in the Abyss or South of Heaven, you start hearing more of that sort of slinky halftime stuff. You could kind of hear it. And of course, his fills are fucking wild, like borderline like Keith Moon kind of craziness, but he can always land it. Yeah, man, I can't say enough good things about Dave. My God, were you able to see them like back in the day with Dave?
Oh yeah,
really?
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw Slayer back like Rain and Blood era.
No shit.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, you know, what you were just saying about Lombardo is something that it made me think about all drummers. Like to me, I don't define a great drummer. Like how do you define somebody as a great drummer?
Sure.
Do they do, you know, paradiddles super fast or something? Like what makes somebody a great drummer?
Yeah.
To me, the thing that makes somebody a great drummer or a great musician or artist in general is that when you see or hear what they do, you know it's them right away.
Totally.
And Dave Lombardo has that rare quality.
Oh, absolutely.
No matter who he's playing with, you know, that's Dave Lombardo playing the drums. I can tell,
right?
Because of that swing and his kind of loose kind of
Yeah.
rhythm, like the way he sticks to things and breaks things down. And then his double bass playing is unique.
Uh-huh.
He's so fast and he's precise, but he's not like death metal new guy precise, fake Pro Tools precise.
Correct.
He's fucking human precise.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a double bass drummer. I mean, I do play a double pedal in Biohazard. I have to.
Right.
I only play it because the guys asked me to play it. But I didn't grow up playing double bass.
Right.
So I don't think I have the perspective of somebody who plays like Joey Jordison, Slipknot.
Just ripping
double bass.
Fucking
Joey and Joey Jordison, probably the best double bass drummer I've ever witnessed. Another unique player. But to me, what makes a drummer a great drummer to me is when you hear it without knowing who it is, and you know by his drumming who it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like John Bonham, you can't get past anything he recorded.
Oh,
you'll never be confused.
No, ever.
You know it's John Bonham.
Yeah.
Stuart Copeland,
another guy.
You can never fuck that up. You can tell it's Stuart Copeland. Joey Jordison from Slipknot had that gift.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave Lombardo is the guy who has that gift in that genre of music.
Yeah.
Such a unique drummer with a unique feel. I can pin it out anywhere. The past couple of years, I saw Dave play with Mr. Bungle.
Mm-hmm.
And the music's crazy and all over the place. And he still sounds like Dave Lombardo. And then I sat right behind him watching him play with Empire State Bastard a couple summers ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know that band.
No, I don't think I do.
Empire State Bastard. They're from Scotland or Wales.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave plays drums on their record. And he's in the band.
Oh.
And they're fucking amazing, first of all.
Okay.
But listen to that record. It's fucking Dave Lombardo mojo all over that shit.
Really?
It's crazy, random, technical, kind of post-hardcore insanity.
Uh-huh.
Very mathematic and stuff. But Lombardo's fucking mojo is all over it. You know it's Dave Lombardo.
Right.
That's what makes him a great drummer, is that identity.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear it, and no matter who he's playing with. Love drummers like that.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks, Danny, for such a great hang. Making me miss New York over here. Catch us again on episode 2 of this interview. We'll catch you on the next one. Crash, bang, boom.